Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the studio this afternoon, an ad hoc stream, mainly because I am wanting to make a sterling silver bracelet. No, I'm not. I'm wanting to make a silver metal bracelet from sterling silver rings. And I thought, whilst I want to do it, I might as well give you guys a chance to watch. So, I'm going to be working with sterling silver rings. I'm going to make a fairly simple byzantine bracelet, and don't actually know how many. That's me playing about. Let me actually just undo this. I do not want to lose any of these, and I just have dropped one. There it is. I want to be very careful not to lose too many of those. Fluffy Twiglet. Indeed I am. Well, as I just mentioned, I kind of wanted to do a... this afternoon I wanted to make a sterling silver bracelet. The intention originally was to make one for me. And I have to be very careful because I've just made the same mistake again. I wanted to make a silver metal bracelet using sterling silver rings. So I figured I'd stream, might as well stream doing that. Now, unfortunately, I got the wrong rings, so this isn't the original one that I was going to do. So this is going to be a bracelet for my wife, and I thought I still might as well stream it, so that's what I'm doing. So I may only be on for an hour or so just while I make this, and then I've got some other things to get on with, but it seemed like a fun thing to do. I'm wondering how many I'm going to need. I don't actually know, so we will just open quite a few of these and then see how it goes. In fact, where's my other pliers? And now I've just tweaked this little hat, so let's see if I can put it back. There we go. No, they didn't give me the wrong rings. I got the right rings. I got the rings I ordered. What I didn't do is order the right rings. It was mainly a case of not, well, usually when you buy jump rings you buy them internal diameter, so I wanted 6.5 internal diameter rings, so that's what I ordered. Well, I ordered 6.5mm rings. The place I got these from, however, don't measure them internally, they measure them externally. So they're a lot smaller than intended. Potentially I could send them back. Distance selling regulations say I'm allowed to do that for no reason at all. But to be honest, it would be nice to make a silver metal bracelet for my wife, as well as one for me, so I can make it. This will make byzantine. It's just about okay for that, with a slight design tweak. So that's what I thought I'd do. I'm just thinking whether I should close some of these as well. And this is the first time I've worked with sterling silver, so new toy, you see. Rather, well, I was about to say rather like your paper making, but I know you've done that before. Fortunately, sterling silver isn't cheap, but which is why when I just dropped one being on the floor, I went searching for it. So, how are you today? Your paper? Your paper what? Let's close a few of these, because if I remember rightly with Byzantine I can close them as well. Your paper on the other hand isn't? Or these react slightly differently to aluminium, so it's taking me closing these is a little bit different. Same but different. She gets to choose. So what do you do? Ring her up to decide to see whether she wants a call, and then and if she does, then you make Sorry, my sense of humour. So how did you manage to nearly tear the paper? Was it stuck to what you were drying it on, and you sort of lifted it up without realising and nearly ripped it? Clearly that's one I opened yesterday. Yeah, so never having worked with sterling before, well, never having worked with sterling rings before, it's going to prove interesting, is this? Also interested to see just how long it takes to make a Byzantine bracelet out of them. Yeah. Okay. What is it, sort of like as thick as watercolour paper then? Because that seems to be... I should not... I've got to be careful not to lose these things. Given that the aluminium rings can be anything up to effectively about 5p each, these things are considerably more. I don't want to lose them. So a few more out. I'll do these few I've got on the desk, and then it was very dry and thin. Okay. Well, I suppose it is the weekend. The kids are out. It all sounds kind of, well, I suppose it's like anything, isn't it? It all sounds really kind of simple, you know, sort of shred some paper, soak it in water, stick it in a blender, so smooth it out onto something, press all the water out and let it dry. And hey presto, you've got paper. But you know, it's whilst in principle that's what it is, I'm sure it's not as simple as it sounds. Why will that ring not close properly? There we go. Yeah, okay. Oh, I don't know the dynamics at all, you see. Yeah. Fluffy twiglet. It's kind of a little bit difficult to sort of think of paper in terms of sort of, you know, a 1 or 2 millimeters thick when you're kind of used to sort of 80-gram paper, which is you know, you can get about 10 or 20 sheets in a millimeter. Right, 3 more, and then I will do a little bit of weaving. We shall see how it goes. Just take a little bit more effort than aluminium rings. Certainly on my left hand. There we go. Right. Switch. Switch tweezers. Big tweezers. Switch tweezers. Byzantine. So I know I don't have enough room with these rings to use a double intermediate ring. I'm going to use a single one. Yeah. And just for the minute, they had to remember how on earth to make a Byzantine bracelet. No, it doesn't. It just means I wanted to do this, and I thought I might as well do it on stream. You know, it's a different different craft. I prefer not to do the same thing as I'm doing on the evening stream if I do an ad hoc one in an afternoon like this, just because then, you know, some people will potentially miss out on the. Before I do something silly, let me put 2 rings on that, if they will indeed go. Yeah, just do something, because then you don't miss out. If you only are able to watch an evening stream, you don't miss out on me doing whatever the main craft is. So I'm kind of just doing this. I sort of haven't made any jewellery for a little while and want it to do so. And B, this is a present, so I also want it to get it done. And C, I want it to have a go with silver. So just an ad hoc thing. I can give all sorts of reasons, but you're not going to miss out. I'm kind of procrastinating on something else as well. A double stream. Yeah, I've done them before now. You know, it's not the first time I've done a Saturday or even a Sunday afternoon stream. I'm trying to get both a website up and running with its shop and an Etsy shop up and running, and I'm kind of just procrastinating a little bit. I should get on with them, but it's sort of not quite feeling it today, shall we say. God, blimey, that made me jump. Wonder where that got in the house. Come along, rings. There we go. You know you're not going to win in the end. You will do as I want you to do. So these don't seem to be doing too badly. Or don't seem to be doing anything reasonable. Well, I'll start that again. Too badly sounds like they might be doing a bit badly. They're not. They're doing well. It's interesting using sterling silver. A flying friend? Oh yeah. Just buzzed in front of me. I am terrified of bees and wasps, and so things that buzz and fly tend to startle me somewhat. So I get, if I can hear something without knowing what it is, my adrenaline starts going up. So at least now I know what it is. It won't bother me when I hear it. Oops, I did put 2 on there. Yeah, I guess no. These rings don't actually feel like they're any harder to twist than aluminium, but I'm guessing they are, because my left hand here is like this muscle, apart from the fact you see it's bright red, this muscle is kind of aching. So have you found any other interesting creative streams today, Fluffy Twiglet? I'm guessing you probably were watching something when I went live, or were you just hanging around just in case? Yeah, I'm kind of the same. In the electronic painting, I would much prefer to watch somebody do it in a traditional style. I'm not any particular snob for it one way, one way or the other. I don't think one's better than the other. I just find one more interesting to watch. Although I think that there's a couple of electronic artists I do watch. What is it? Can't remember who it is now. Artillery something. JB Drawing. I watched electronically, but that's kind of mainly because I've watched him for quite a long time. My brain keeps trying to turn this into a box chain. Actually, be an interesting sort of box chain with only one connecting link, but yes, am I coming that? That sounds like what salesman would say. I saw them coming from a mile away. Well, I so thank you for finding me interesting enough to drop everything else and come and take a look. Right, I've nearly run out of opened rings, so we'll need to open some more in a moment. Actually, thinking about it, I hope I've enough, because I bought, the number of rings I bought was based on them being bigger. So I'm hoping I don't run out. Won't make a very good present if I do. Right, they will fold back. I need to open some more, but that will be like that. So we've made a reasonable length of chain so far. Wow, it feels heavy. There's a focus point there. So a silver metal byzantine chain made out of sterling silver rings. Okay. So how long is that? About 3 inches. We've used 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, 36, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49. Not going to have enough. I'm not going to have enough. I'm going to have to buy some more. Right, for anybody that's watching, of course I'm doing chainmail here, although that kind of gives a wrong impression. Chainmail though is the technique of weaving rings, which is what I'm doing. What I'm working with here is sterling silver rings, and I'm making a silver metal bracelet. I'm not making a sterling silver bracelet because I can't call it that, because it's not hallmarked or won't be hallmarked. So this is just a sterling silver rings and a silver metal bracelet. Right, I'm going to need to close a few rings as well. I've also got a cat somewhere behind me. And it's probably doing all sorts of things, pushing stuff all over the place, and they do that when they curl up to go to sleep. They'll sort of, wherever they are, they'll push things away from them. And if it's on the table, guess where it ends up? Right, I haven't counted these out precisely, so I don't know exactly how many open and how many closed I want, so I'll leave a few spare. And I will go back to weaving. Yeah, I guess I could do a little bit faster speed weaving here by when I put these two rings on, incorporating the next. No, I can't. But I say incorporating the next one, I can't do that because these have to be woven back on themselves, and trying to do that and incorporate the next ring is challenging. I know that because when you do these with stretchy rings, you actually have to incorporate that next ring before you have woven them, and it's a challenging exercise. Trying to weave a closed ring in at this on these, and even when it's sort of stretchy neoprene style ring, which obviously makes things a bit easier to bend around and stuff, but trying to incorporate it is still a challenge. You kind of have to insert the ring in between those two at this point. I guess it's possible to do, but it may actually be slower when I'm using solid rings. Well, working with sterling silver rings also has a slight advantage, that I don't need to be as concerned about scratching the rings, because you don't scratch the surface off, and they're still shiny underneath. Not that I do it very often, but when the pliers slip off like that, that's when you get the chance of doing it. Normally with aluminium rings, I'll take a very close look at them and usually discard them, but I won't need to for sterling silver. these aren't silver plate, these are solid silver. My wife is one of a group of people that they're just normal skin oils will actually eat through silver plate very quickly. If I made her a silver plate bracelet like this, within a couple of hours of wearing it, it would have lost all the silver plating. And a few people are like that as well, which is why I don't use silver plate rings, nor do I use silver plated fastenings either, for that same very reason. They just turn, generally they're made out of copper or something which has been copper plated. So generally on my wife, a clasp will very quickly turn copper and then a dark copper colour, and the silver goes. Hence the reason for using sterling silver. Right, I will need to close some more rings in a moment. There's not a lot left. Pliers getting in the way. Well, I am quite pleased that this is growing quite fast, given my level of experience with chainmail. Before I do any more, what I want to do is, one, see how long that is. I know it's not long enough, not by any means. 12 centimeters, which is just over 4.5 inches, and it wants to be 7.5, so I do not have enough rings. So I want another open ring to make 4, and I'll want an open ring to join them on. So that's just trying to make sure I get them get enough here, so I don't have to close open ones or open close ones. So that's 2 to go. Join, put 2 on, put 2 open ones on, a joining ring to close 2. Closing them here is slightly faster and easier than trying to do it on the chain, so that's why I'm doing it now. I'll be back in just a moment, guys. Okay, I'm back. Thank you for waiting, guys. Sorry about that delay or slight delay there. Just needed to assist with something so somebody didn't get hurt with some lifting. Another open one, and there's 4 left. Okay. So yeah, there is just enough then on the end to do, I think, too close to open, yeah. So I can just get another section on the end. And then I'm out of rings. Mind you, I don't think it'll be long enough even with this section on the end. Which is a pity. Right, okay, let's finish off what we can do with this. And before I close that, remember to put these rings on. through that, that's it. And this last section. Yeah, because then I'm out of sterling silver rings. I'm not going to mix them with aluminium. So come on, ring. Why will you not go through that space? And now you're being awkward. Doesn't want to go through. And it had both ends tucked in, so I couldn't get it out either. And the last ring that I have is now fastened, so that will go through there. If this was just long enough, which it isn't, I could just, I've got a small ring which might just be big enough to put a clasp on, but it's not, unfortunately. We are at 5.5, so it's a 6-inch bracelet at the moment, because a clasp adds about half, well, it would add about half an inch. I've got a nice magnetic clasp I was going to use, or try and use for this. Yeah, mind you, yeah, that will still be close to half an inch, so give or take a ring or two, that would be a 6-inch bracelet, but unfortunately it wants to be 7.5, so about 1.5 inches short. So given that there's 100 rings in this, and it's 6 inches, so 3 inches would be 50, 25 would be 1.5 inches, so I need another 25 rings. And Murphy's Law says I know they're going to be sold in 24s. But so I'll have to get a few extra. But that's a weighty bracelet actually. It weighs a fair, compared with an aluminium bracelet. Even something sort of fairly hefty, and that's only half of it, that's a lot lighter than that is, by a considerable margin. Tell you what, let's see how much it weighs, because I'm interested. Take the cocktail stick out. 22.5 grams of silver metal. And what does that one weigh? Oops, that's over the side. Let's put a zero that out. Yeah, that's 17 grams. That's half of one, so that completed will be about 34. That's already 22. So they'll be, yeah, they'll weigh about the same when they're both completed, which is kind of amazing. Anyway, let me put my scale away. So unfortunately you won't get to see the bracelet complete. About 45 minutes to do that. Okay, so it does take about an hour to do one of these in sterling silver. There we go. I'm just wondering whether to finish this one off whilst I am here. I've got a clasp to let's finish that off whilst I'm here. I've got a clasp to put on that, so let me just pick it up. I think that should be okay for this. We shall see. I think I will use... I'll try and use some little silver rings to do this with. Is they going to be long enough? No, they're not. Let's use these, which are slightly longer. Decisions, you see. You might think doing this stuff is easy, but then you end up having to make all these decisions about just what colours to use, what sizes to use. So let's open 8 of these little ones. I think these hopefully should be long enough. We'll find out very quickly. I'll do 4, do one side of the clasp, and then we'll, if they're fine, I'll open the other 4. Yeah, they're magnetic. I keep forgetting about that. How do I want to do this? I've got a feeling if I do what I was just about to do, which is put a ring through there, it's going to do that. Yeah. Let's do it anyway and we'll take a look. May have to think of a slightly different way of attaching this. putting these clasps on can sometimes be a little bit amusing because the clasps contain magnets to hold them closed, and yeah, it's going to do what I thought it would do. We'll put this other one on and I'll have a look, see if there's a way of which I can comfortably fix what it's doing. Yeah, that's kind of what I expected it would do. I'll have a think about that one. That's not how I want it to lie. I don't think so anyway. I mean, it sticks out a bit much. I don't like that. So I shall take that off. Certainly don't like it that way. Two isn't bad. So what I'm doing is just looking at it like that. So I could potentially use a two bar or 2 hole clasp to hold it in place. At least that way it doesn't pull the end rings up, which is it makes them stand up on end. I could also use a 3. Because they're going to hold better. Might be a better idea. Let's just see what it looks like. I can do that by just moving these. So a little bit of experimentation involved. Where is the end of that ring? There's a join in there somewhere. Is that it? Yep, I think so. Sometimes you can close these rings almost perfectly and you can't tell where the join is. Oh, there you go, thank you. Let's see what this looks like. I think if it's right, if it works okay, I'm going to have to perhaps extend the bracelet by just a small amount. Ooh, that's an interesting thought. and go through there, right. So how does that sit? Oops, easy. So what I'm doing now is just kind of looking at how it might sit on a wrist. Sort of sits not bad. Now then, what I was thinking of doing for these two is it kind of needs to be that long as well. So a three hole fastening would be shorter. Wouldn't be too bad, I guess, but it doesn't quite. It looks like it would look too short to me. So whilst I was thinking about maybe seeing if I could get a single ring to go through. Can I get a single ring to go through there? No, because that ring is the wrong size for that. So let me put two rings through the same gold ring. Come on, stop playing games with me, because you're not going to win. So if I go through that same gold ring and go through there, like that. Now that doesn't look too bad. It sits not bad. Okay, well, let's do the other side. If you want to pay for one baby tears, then yes, it can be for you. This is my working sample, so to speak, by which I work out things, and then generally speaking, Mrs. Aragonite gets the samples, or at least to wear. She gets to wear the samples, and if I need them, I borrow them back. So that doesn't actually look too bad. So I shall put the other side on. You end up with a fascination almost with counting when you're doing this. You end up counting everything. No, I don't accept checks. Take too long to clear. I could send you a PayPal invoice there. So 2, there we go, through there. That one, pick up that. And then the final ring, the final ring to rule them all. Ray America, good afternoon. Welcome to the stream this afternoon. not sure I'm going to be going much longer, by the way. This is just me deciding to finish this particular bracelet on stream. That doesn't look bad. That doesn't look bad at all. Question. Well, so I don't actually know if this will fit me. No, it won't. Not quite. That's a good ½ inch short for me. But it's not surprising. Because it's an ad hoc stream, baby tears. It's not a normal stream. I will be streaming again tonight. I wanted to have a go with this. This is solid sterling silver rings, into which I've made it a silver metal bracelet. Only I've run out of rings. I bought these rings incorrectly. I bought the wrong size because shall I say, I made an assumption which was wrong, and I got the wrong size, which incidentally means because I got the wrong size I've got too few. I need to actually finish this off, but I've just discovered that, having not been able to finish it. But I thought I was kind of wanting to have a play with sterling silver rings. The intention was to make a bracelet for me, but having got the wrong rings, I couldn't do that because they're physically too small for the pattern that I want it to do for me. So I thought, well, might as well do it on stream, have a play with it on stream. And so rather than hijacking an evening stream, I just thought I'd do it for an hour or so in this afternoon. So that's what it was. And having sort of come to the end of doing that, I just thought, I'll tell you what, whilst I'm here, I'll just put a clasp on this one. It was waiting for my for the delivery to come in. Yeah, it's not bad. Yeah, it's quite nicely, does that. So yeah, glad I chose that way of doing it. That one ring there's just sitting slightly. There we go. Yeah, so did I. In doing this one, I specifically put the diagonals in because I figured, well, to put a straight band across felt just a little bit too ordinary, to be honest. So that's I decided the same thing. The diagonals made it look a little bit different, and I did think about maybe putting chevrons on, but the diagonals looked okay. If I made it a bit wider, I might put a chevron there instead. But that's about it, guys. It was just intended to be a short stream while I played with the silver rings, sterling silver rings, and now I need to go back and do some more work on the shop. So I'm going to say thank you for watching. Sorry. Yeah, probably if it was another 2, if I made it cuff wide. So if I made it as wide as actually, it's not. Yeah, if I made it as wide as the dragon back, for example. So if it was cuff width, then yeah, I think it would have been okay to do a chevron. So yeah. So I'll catch you all later. Thank you for watching. It's been fun having you around for the short stream, and I'll hope to catch you again. If there's anybody watching that isn't following, then that would be fantastic if you push the follow button, but you don't have to do so. If you wish to just be notified, you can follow me on Twitter. It's @ZaragonArt. Or I do stream 7 nights a week. This is just an ad hoc stream, so my normal stream will be tonight and subsequent evenings, 8 PM UK time, 1900 hours GMT, or in what, 4 hours time. Thank you all. Hope to see you again on a future stream. Bye bye.